I hear a lot of bitching out there, but I don't hear a lot of people providing better ideas, right? And so I was just talking with Anthony about this during the break. You got the left. It doesn't matter what Donald Trump does or what they move forward on. Oh, it's terrible. He's wrong. It's going to kill people. Babies are going to die. It's bad for the economy. Oh, would you stop it?
But they'll spend that check when they get it.
Oh, they'll spend that check faster than hell buying weed at the local head shop. I guarantee you that. Anyhow, it's crazy. It doesn't matter how good the idea is or the fact that Barack Obama created it or Bill Clinton did the same thing. Oh, Donald Trump, he's awful. Okay, take your medicine. And they say that following Donald Trump was a cult. Okay, take your medicine. Speaking of ideas for peace, Donald Trump threw out he throws out these markers. How about the United States takes over Gaza? We clean the place out, we reset it, we turn it into a place that can be prosperous and peaceful. Oh, that's terrible. I hate that idea. Okay, well then what's your idea? Asaf Roborowski is a PhD, the executive director of the Scholars for Peace in the Middle East. I don't know if he agrees with this or not, but at least it's an idea on the table. Asaf, welcome back.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Good to have you. Let's talk about this. Everybody on the left, of course, rejected the idea of some big marker about America being involved in Gaza. Okay. But the fact of the matter is Donald Trump threw something new on the table, shocked everybody. And he said, okay, this is our idea. What's yours? Because there are no new ideas in the Middle East. Continue to do the same old thing. Let people, go back and forth and fight back and forth and kill each other back and forth. It is time for some new ideas, isn't it?
It is. I don't disagree. I think that this is a form of, obviously, Donald Trump's statecraft, such as it is. And what it does, it really puts the onus back on the Arab world. I mean, we've been doing this, as you said correctly, time and time again, over and over again. I mean, I guess the definition of insanity, as the saying goes, you do it again and again without any kind of change to the end result. So here we are in the Middle East, where nothing is obviously binary and nothing is obviously simple. But really what's important here to understand is that for the first time, they're shifting the understanding. Because let's be clear here. If Gaza maintains in this current situation, all it does is maintains the stasis and the statelessness of Arab Palestinians. What he's trying to do, and what he put out there, was that the Arab world, and in particular countries like Egypt and Jordan, who, if you look at the configuration societal-wise of Palestinian society, Gazans are Egyptians, West Bankers are Jordanians. This is where they were between 1948, 49 until 1967. Then why isn't the Arab world taking responsibility for their so-called brethren? And the answer is because they don't want to take responsibility for actually bringing about Israel's War of Independence in 1948. And so now they're shifting the onus back on them. And Trump is saying, well, it's time for you to take responsibility. And that's why you're seeing them bulking at all this, because what it really do is change the psychology of what they've been used to doing, because by not accepting responsibility, they have deflected and put the entire onus on Israel, on the United States, on every other power in the world, while still claiming victimology. And that's been the tactic for now over 76 years.
Well, right, and look, the fighting there goes back a couple of thousand years. It's my assertion. If you took guns and grenades took them away from a lot of these folks, they'd beat each other to death with sticks and stones, because that's how ingrained this hatred is. The Arabs teach their children to hate Israel, to hate America from the time they're born. Right? That's just the way it is. Okay, so look, I want to focus on this observation that's pretty clear. Gazans are Egyptian, and yet Egypt says, no, absolutely not. We don't want these folks. West Bankers are Jordanian. Jordan says, no, absolutely not. We don't want these folks. Why? Because they don't want this toxic element in their country. They don't want this violent sect in their country, because that's the way it appears to an outsider. You obviously have a better take on it, but that's the way it looks to me. Egypt doesn't want these violent Gazan people inside their country because they'll have the same result. That's the way it looks.
100% correct. I mean, that's exactly the point. I mean, the fact that the King of Jordan, King Abdullah, was here recently in Washington and agreed to take in supposedly 2,000 sick and elderly, that's symbolic. I mean, the fact of the matter is, out of all the countries, Jordan is populated close to about 85% Palestinian. The argument, you can make the demographic argument, and it's been made by some, that Jordan is Palestine. The king himself is married to a Palestinian, Queen Rania herself. And so they understand that they don't want to create, they already have their own problems. Not to mention the fact that because of the internal societal fragmentation, there is no intermarriage between Arab Palestinians in the Jordan in the West Bank and Arab Palestinians in Gaza. There's no marriage, there's no cultural relationships. So there is no way that the Jordanians would ever accept Gazans. From their perspective, they are dogs and sons of dogs. That's how much the animosity and the hatred is there. And so they prefer to take some kind of symbolism. The only carrot we have with Jordan versus the Egyptians is that Jordan is also relatively poor economically. So we have a little bit more economic carrots that the United States and under the Trump administration can offer the Jordanians. But let's also not forget the fact that Egypt, which has been receiving since 1979, since the peace process began over 46 years ago, close to $80 billion in aid, U.S. aid that goes to Egypt. Egypt has the largest army sector to Israel in the area, and they refuse to accept any kind of responsibility. Let's not forget, under the Biden administration, when Biden tried to push them to say safe zones in Rafah, which is right on the border with Egypt and in the Sinai.
Don't invade Rafah. Don't invade. That was one of the big mantras. Look, here's the thing, Asif. I got to leave it here for today. The fact of the matter is, Donald Trump, and we can see it right in this conversation, he has shaken up the discussion. And that's what it needs. Let's shake it up and see what else can be done and what else can be tried, because what we've been doing for the last 76 years, like you pointed out, isn't working. All right. Asif, thank you for being here. We'll continue to talk about this in the days to come. I'll see you again.
Thank you as always. I appreciate it.
Really appreciate it. There you have it. We got to shake up the conversation. The status quo will not do. I'll be back on the Steve Gruber Show.